All right, so welcome everyone to this online webinar on effective onboarding in Codebeamer. So it's essentially a webinar on training, the design, the planning and delivery of training programs within Codebeamer ALM. My name is Gergely Parkanyi, or Greg, as a lot of people know me in the industry. And I've been working as a trainer for around 10 years now. And out of these 10 years, I was the learning architect of Intland prior to their acquisition of PTC for 2 years. And I had a key role in developing the Intland Academy. So today, I'm going to talk to you about Arorian and our services, then different types of trainings that are available within Codebeamer or for Codebeamer, then training in the implementation process. So we'll somehow merge or blend the implementation and the training. And in here we'll rely on some project experience that I have and certain ideas that I developed over the years. And then we'll say a few words about available resources, stuff that you can reach out to immediately after the session and start learning yourself. So, Arorian, we have 55 plus ALM, PLM experts as employees or contracting partners. We've got 6 office locations, companies primarily based in Germany, Frankfurt, and we have been involved in 100 plus transformation projects in the area of ALM and PLM. And we got strategic partnerships with PTC and some other bigger companies. So as far as our services are concerned, we are mainly dealing with PLM, that is Windchill for PTC, application lifecycle management, RVNS or Codebeamer, then system integration and software development services. So whenever you need a custom solution, you can think of us, and then doing the whole thing in the cloud using AWS or Azure. And then we also do support for the systems we implemented. And I guess the most important part from today's standpoint, it's the training and adoption services. So we are heavily involved in that as well. Okay, so information these days, and it's not just about Codebeamer, it's general. Information is abundantly available. How many times you can hear that, oh, you can see it on YouTube, or just Google it. So information is abundantly available on any subject, including Codebeamer. But structure, like how to approach a big topic like Codebeamer ALM, that's already harder to find. And for this, you got online courses for most topics, and we have also been involved in online education for Codebeamer. But then application, like how you apply the knowledge, that is the hardest thing to find because you are unique, your company is unique. And so to apply this tool, this ALM tool to your company, that is, well, that's unique. So that means you need unique experts or experts who dedicate their time. And it's a little bit like personal training. So you can watch fitness videos on YouTube for free. If you want like a proper training program, you might consider purchasing or subscribing to an app which has recommendations based on your weight and fitness goals. But if you really want to make sure that you actually do the training and not just invest in certain things, then you might consider a fitness pal or a personal trainer. So same way, information is available on Codebeamer. We can do recorded courses and share it with you, standard Codebeamer stuff. But really, if you want knowledge that's applied to your situation, then that's part of our consulting practice. So let's start with the first one, information. What information is available about Codebeamer training, and what can we share right now? So the areas of Codebeamer training are application training, configuration training, system administration, and development. And I'm not making this up. It's actually the structure of the publicly available user guide of Codebeamer. If you look at the chapters, slightly rearranged, but there's an application chapter, which would be user guide, then the configuration chapter, which is something like administrator, and then system administration and development, like solutions guide. So again, if you look closely enough and you look deep enough, you'll find that these are the four main areas. And indeed, the training activity that I was part of with Intland, it was focusing on these four areas always. So what is the structure of a successful training program? We can rely on PTC with this. We have completed the technical essentials and the advanced configuration training programs delivered by PTC, available to partners. And we have several certified consultants within the company right now. So these courses have the added value compared to this freely available and openly available knowledge base that they have a structure. They start with requirements management, then they go to testing and so on and so forth. And the same with configuration. We'll look at the details of this suggested roadmap in a little while. But so the structure comes within the training design, and there are suggestions from PTC that we can really listen to. But how does a training program fit within the implementation of Codebeamer ALM? So my next slide is about this fit. I'm just going to go through the various phases of implementation and say a few words about the training requirement of that phase. So the initiation or the planning phase, right at the beginning, requires a basic sysadmin training for installation if you choose the on-premise installation. If it's cloud-based, then we can do it for you, and this can be skipped. Why is that? Because to go any further, you need your own Codebeamer installation for people to practice or to brainstorm on. And so you need to get some technical resources to be knowledgeable on the installation part of the sysadmin training. And this training would typically be delivered by someone comparable at our end, somebody who did this technical kind of rollout of Codebeamer at our end. Then the design phase would come with a standard training delivered to key users of the project. So 1 week application training, 1 week configuration training, and 1 week development training are the recommendations. Now, you don't necessarily have to, well, you absolutely have to take the application training. You have purchased an application by this point, or you've embarked on a journey with a certain application. You need to know how it works, because lots of things shouldn't be changed. You should just learn them. How to create a new requirement or how to create a test run from a test case. These are things you need to learn about the new product. So that's what you would have in the application training, and I would definitely recommend to take that. But configuration and development are optional, and we'll explain when those are required and needed and for what type of customer. So the next one is the development configuration phase of the project. In here, the training team would be responsible for creating custom training materials, and then also choose a method for training delivery. So the standard training, I mean, in the design phase, you don't really have an implemented solution yet. Obviously, this is what design is all about. It's being designed. But later down the line, absolutely all key users will require a training on the final solution. And so as the final solution is being developed, the training program needs to be developed with it. And it might be an e-learning, it might be recorded live sessions in a nice library, or you might decide to do it fully in a live version on-premise or virtual. So this is what I mean by choosing the methods. I just listed the most typical methods. And for example, the development of a full e-learning package takes more time than creating recorded materials, just recorded live sessions. And So it depends. The duration of this phase will usually depend on the customer and their needs. Then comes the testing phase. And in the testing phase, we need to deliver role-based custom training for the testing team. So still not everybody within the organization. Up until this point, we trained key users, project team members. Now we involve testers, maybe a broader audience, but still not the whole user base. And the numbers in a larger client, like I was involved in the Pioneer project, it was the numbers of end users ranged to some thousands of people, whereas key users only 30, 40. So it can hugely vary based on the customer size. But we could say that the testing phase will require more involvement from end users, and so the numbers will grow. And they will expect the training to be about the thing they need to do, they need to test, so it needs to be on the final processes, final system. And if you're responsible for, let's say, quality, then you want to take the quality management or test management training a module only. So it needs to be role-based and custom and delivered on the custom system. And the last one is the go live or the deployment phase. I mean, for a successful go live, we need to deliver role-based custom training to all users, but on the final solution. So it cannot be during the testing, because in testing, errors may pop out. And there's nothing more frustrating, and as an end user or a business person, to waste your time trying to fix bugs or chasing bugs. So you really want to make sure the testing has a status passed, and the system is ready to go. And then you deliver the role-based custom training for all users so they can actually handle the day-to-day. And by this point, the sysadmin also needs to be fully up to speed, or the team of admins need to be fully up to speed so they can complete all tasks related to system administration. And then we go into the maintenance and support phase, whereby new features will be released to the company on a regular basis, potentially, and then we need training on those new features. So that could be newly developed features coming from PTC, or modules that were not implemented in the first round of the project, but the project will expand those modules. Let's say source code management may not be part of the first rollout phase, but it might come later. Okay, and if you want to ask questions, you will have spent some time, a few minutes at the end. You can also email your questions, and then we'll get back to you. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Let's look at the training types in depth. So the application training is the core training type, and it involves the following main areas: requirements management, the creation and management of requirements, different views, document view, table view, even branching and working with baselines or documents, because requirements often come in Word documents, so it also involves document management. So it's a big topic. Then we got test management, manual testing, automation testing, and how to create, plan, and execute test runs in Codebeamer. So test management quality is another big one. And when I did this on site, there was a swap of audience. So requirements engineers came in for the first part, then they left, and QA people came in. And so this is role-based most of the time. Project management, that is based on the chosen methodology. So if you're in the automotive business, you might want to use the V model. Then your Codebeamer model will need to be in sync with that. Or a lot of our clients choose Codebeamer because of its agile and Scrum capabilities. So depending on your choice of project management methodology, you need to learn how to manage projects inside Codebeamer, how to create tasks, how to track the progress on Gantt charts, and all the rest. And finally, source code management. So it's called Codebeamer for a reason. Eventually, every single committed line of source code will need to land on a task. And this way you'll get the full benefit of the product, which is the end-to-end traceability. From the idea, from the top level requirement, let's say a customer requirement, down to the committed source code, you have full traceability. So the source code management is really an important part. And there are small topics like reporting, for instance, but it can be made part of each segment. So application training would have these main components. When you design the application training, a few points to consider, and some of this will be a reiteration of previous points. What system will you use, or will we use? Is that going to be a standard out-of-the-box Codebeamer, which is kind of the most simple model with 2 types of requirements and one test run tracker, and just a very simple model, or a standard template solution, industry template. So you can purchase a Spice ready Codebeamer template, and if your company eventually is going to apply Codebeamer to an ASpice environment, then maybe it's a good idea to start, instead of the absolute standard, with a standard template. And even the initial trainings could take place within the standard template. And then after the development and deployment, we'll have a company template, which will 100% match your company's needs. Then that will also be the system for the training. So this changes through the implementation process. To get good satisfaction and effective training delivery, you will need to make sure that you're teaching what the person needs and not more or not less. So it's a good idea to really split the audience, split the training program. But maybe for a project manager or a scrum master, they can attend all the areas. Maybe not the development, but most of it. And as I said, audience changes through the life cycle of the project, from key users going to end users, and really when you plan the training, you should also be mindful of the number of people. So maybe virtual training is a good idea towards the end when you have a huge number of end users, and for key users you can do on-site training. And once again, reiterating the application training by implementation phase. So what do we teach in various stages? In the design phase, we teach the main modules in a standard system or a standard template, industry template, to key users. Then we create the custom training in development, parallel to the development. Then we do the custom training on the custom system for testers, and then custom training to all users when it's been successfully tested. And then there's ongoing training support, maybe weekly webinars or something like that, on novelties or new areas of the system. Okay, let's look at the next big topic, the configuration training. So first, who needs a configuration training and why? Companies, bigger companies who want to build their in-house consulting team, they need the configuration training. This will provide them with faster response capabilities. So if a user comes up with a request, you can immediately handle it, fix smaller issues, or even reconfigure a system for the sake of a specific project. This way you can adapt to ongoing changes and maybe utilize your internal resources a bit better if that's your goal. So if you attend the configuration training, your key people, and we're talking about a small number of selected individuals, they become kind of like Codebeamer consultants. So it's the same know-how that we also had to learn to become Codebeamer consultants. And the topics here, the application training topics, these are vastly different because it starts by the creation of trackers. Trackers are configurable containers. Let's say you got requirements type trackers, let's say customer requirements, system requirement, hardware requirements, software requirement. These are all names of trackers, and requirement is a type of tracker. But you can think of trackers as containers, and in the configuration training, you should learn how to create those containers. or to modify existing containers by adding and removing fields, modifying the workflow configuration, add or remove roles and permissions. So this topic is really sensitive because most of our clients are in the safety critical business, and the roles and permissions should absolutely be tailored to the needs of the organization. So, but we're talking about field level and workflow state level customization. So in every stage of every work item's life cycle, you need to specify who can see what. Maybe an approved customer requirement has a different configuration than an in-progress system requirement. So the roles and permissions, who sees what, who can do what, will vary from tracker to tracker, field to field, and even workflow states. It's a lot of configuration. So it's good to have someone knowledgeable on site who can absolutely handle this. And then Word export templates. Word export templates allow you to send the information out from Codebeamer into Microsoft Word in specific formats. So same way as oftentimes customers send you their requirements in Word, they might also expect you to produce something in Word in a given format. And so this is why Word export templates are a big part of most implementation projects. I put it in the configuration training and not development training because Codebeamer has its built-in capabilities to communicate with Word through bookmarks and scripting. So that means you can send data without having to code. And integration-wise, we have some standard out-of-the-box integrations with IBM Rational Doors and Jira. So those can be configured, and we can teach you how to configure that. But of course, there could be integration beyond that, and that would be development. Okay, let's look at the next one, system administration. So you saw how system administration is part of the beginning, and it needs to be completed by the end. System administration training is something that's usually done in the form of self-study by the local IT expert based on the user guides, and little or no help is required from the partner, but it's important that the knowledge should be transferred somehow. So we can also define a training for this. The system administration includes the installation of the application. The company needs to have someone who's able to do backups because, again, safety critical. So you must have a backup of the database. You need to be able to go back to it in case of an emergency. The configuration of permissions, creation of user groups. Oftentimes you got single sign-on to make life easier. All of this needs to be maintained by the sysadmin. And then finally, upgrades. So once you got everything in place, there could be regular upgrades coming, and then they need to be installed. So this is all, the topics for sysadministration training, and again, most of it can be learned from the user guide, but if not, then a partner can help. So development training. Who needs the developer training? First and foremost, it's only required if you want to have your in-house developers. And this usually suggests that you're a very big company. And so development, in-house development will be focusing on development of plugins or scripting, like prescribing the behavior of the system. And the success of the implementation will certainly be influenced by the good development practices. And with scripting and with good configuration, you can be sure that people's life will become as easy as possible. And the system is a good fit for the company's processes. So custom widgets, they are like reports available to users. They have to be developed as well. And then integrations through APIs. So a lot of times some purpose-built tools need to live on after the deployment of Codebeamer, either because they are business critical and there's a lot of historical data in them, or people simply like them. Codebeamer is an open system. You can connect to it via APIs, and actually that integration needs to be built, and it's usually a big part of the implementation projects. So in the development training, you get education on how this is done, how you can be an effective developer. And this kind of training is usually developed or delivered by developers. So I'm more of a consultant type of person. So this would be for a hardcore developer, and then this can be also useful for any company. So a few words on the key takeaways, and then we'll open up the scene for some questions. So we talked about the various types of trainings. We have discussed that there are 4 main types of training: the application training, configuration training, the development training, and the sysadmin training. And these are not arbitrary. These were not created by me, but they are rather, based on the characteristics of the system itself, Codebeamer. And you can also characterize training based on its number of attendees, whether it's key users, end users, or based on the system used, or in the form of delivery. And making decisions on all of these types, which one you need, which one you don't need, which one goes first, which one comes later, this is all part of developing an effective training program and training strategy. We looked at content available, so basically the knowledge base that's available, something that you can also access from within Codebeamer. Actually, you have a link, and the rest of the content is something that you need to purchase from us or get developed for yourself based on the business processes and the implementation itself. Duration-wise, the only thing we could estimate is the duration of the standard training. And during my life with Intland, most of the training that I've done was that initial standard training, because the upcoming training sessions were either done by the locals or by the developers themselves, or various other means. And sometimes I came back towards the end and did the user training, the full blown end user training in a virtual form. So the duration can be estimated for the standard training. And when we say 1 week, I mean 8 hours per day, full week for the application training, 8 hours per day, full week for the configuration. And you can spend a lifetime on the development, but let's just say for the basics, or for a knowledgeable senior developer to pick up Codebeamer development, maybe 1 week would be a good starting point. And of course, this can also be made longer, so you can spread it out a bit. Instead of spending a whole week, 8 hours in classroom or virtual classroom, you can have 1 day a week for a longer period, and you can remain productive, or your people can remain productive during the training process. And then we spoke about the roles involved in the training. In the application training, the modules define the roles. So you got requirements engineers and testers and project managers for the project management training. But then sysadmin is the role and the training type, and development training is for developers, logically, and consulting training is for internal consultants. So there, the main role is really the title of the training. So we looked at the mapping of roles and training types. Okay, this might be the key takeaway of the training, how the training process will merge with the implementation process, how it will support the implementation process. And so this is one quick reiteration of that integration. like basic sysadmin in the beginning, standard training for smaller audience here, 1 week each topic, full time, and then the configuration process will with the custom training development, and then custom training delivery for smaller team, custom training delivery for larger team, all users, and sysadmin pro training, and then ongoing training with every new release. So this is how one can envision a successful training plan as part of a rollout plan. So we got a few words for our future webinars. So here at Arorian, we will do webinars based on the questions that we receive from our customers on a regular basis. We found that there's a huge interest in integrations, and we'll have a webinar on integration with Windchill, PLM, and Codebeamer to provide full product traceability this way. Okay, anytime later, feel free to reach out to me using my email address, gergely.parkani@arorian.com, or you can simply write to info@arorian.com with follow-up questions, requests, even requests related to training. Please follow us on LinkedIn, Arorian Technologies, and once again, contact us if you want to get your custom training plan delivered, if you want to ease the onboarding process, or you want to make the start of use with Codebeamer easier. And if you choose a consulting partner, well, you might as well choose the same training partner, and then the two processes can go hand in hand. We can also offer training on industry templates available from PTC. So if there's nothing, then I'm going to say thank you for your time attending this webinar. I hope it was useful, give you a good overview of the training process based on experience. And again, if you want to implement any of these suggestions, feel free to reach out to us using these email addresses or LinkedIn, and hope to hear from you. Bye-bye.